G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. So this week just going to do a few little odd jobs. Just need to finish off a couple of areas around this cockpit, maybe do a little bit more painting because we ran out of paint. It was too windy last time. So we'll get a couple of little things done this week and that'll get us on to a little bit more progress so I can install the Companionway at some point. So let's get to it. Alright, so I bought this little piano hinge. We can cut it in half and use half for each side of our door. So we've got a couple of ways we can mount this. To be flush on here like that, and then we can drill it into the door like so. So the door will be here, the screws will be going into this board, or I can have it like that. However, that would make it that if the board sits inside here, screws going from the back, you'll see these screws from the inside. And then once it opens up, you'll still see the screws there, because the door will be on the outside there. So that's not too bad. Or I can stick it on the inside, and once closed, you can either have the door flush on this face with the screws coming in from the back side, and as it opens up, you'll still see the screws on the back side there, but not so bad. Yeah, or you can have the door flush this way, and then when it's closed it'll have to clamp up onto itself. So we've got a few options, so I'll cut that down to size and I'll get the doors up here and I'll start having a bit of a look how we're going to mount these brackets. Right, after about 3 minutes of deliberation, I have decided I think it's best to mount it like this, and then we will pivot in like so. If we decide we're not going to like this gap, I can always weld in a like 5mm square bar, like this is a 10mm. You can always put a 5 or 10mm square bar running along there, which will really hide that and make it a little bit neater. So we'll give that a go and see what it looks like. All right. Got my little doors all cut out, and these fit in nicely. Alright, no problem. Now, I've just been messing around with these for a little bit, and you know, I come up with ideas in my head and it all works out, it all looks nice in my head. But then when I start working on things, I'm like, oh, this could be better if I do it just a little bit the other way. So let me show you what I've just been thinking about. So I've made up this Companionway. I do like how it's nice and square, because say in my kitchen there I'm going to have a bit of a bar fridge set up. It's going to be a nice long fridge, This is like 700 wide if I remember. Let's measure it. What do we got? 750 millimeters wide. Standard fridge width is around about 550 to 600 millimeters wide. So they've got plenty of room here. So I thought, yep, we like the nice big wide entranceway. It's good for getting stuff in and out of the boat there. And we made up these doors to suit. They're going to look nice. These are just temporary ones. We'll make up nice proper ones with actual fly screen inserts and acrylic inserts in them. So I've got plans for that. However, putting these hinges on, I'll just pop the camera up here so we can have a look. So let's have a look at that. So let's see if I can show this right. The original plan is to put the hinges on and they would swing in like so, no drama. So nice and sturdy. Means I've got from the inside here, to make it look good, we've got to build a bulkhead so this can go up against, right? That's no problem. On that side we could build in a little bit of a pantry, no worries. On this side it just closes the room a little bit, no big deal. So if I was to turn this the other way and say we put the hinge on here, most boats do this, they open outward. Our concern was that you open it outwards and then it would foul here, and then you lose a lot of room in here, being able to have someone sit there nice and comfortable with nice easy access going in and out of the boat, keeping the wind coming in and out. But now that I visually see this made, I am thinking if I move this 15 or 10 mil bar that I've welded in here on a bit of a taper, enclosing the foot area where you step in a little bit more, tapering like most boats have with their washboards. They have a bit of a tapered companionway. That would mean that this gets tapered, opening it up a fair way more. And if it was say even jutting out this much, it's not encroaching too much into that sitting area. So maybe we've got to look into that. Maybe it is better for me to open it up, have a tapered door with an insert for a fly screen on acrylic, rather than having this square one and going inboard. I mean, that was our original plan. That's how we were going forward, which means I have to build a bulkhead and whatnot. Building a bulkhead is no big deal, it's just a little bit of extra work. But we could open it up and just maybe it's not going to interfere too much with us. But we do like our bigger companionway. I can't go smaller than 600 mil on the companionway, because then we can't get our stuff inside. So maybe we'll just put this on hold for a little bit. So you guys let me know what you guys think. Is it better to open them inwards? I also think it could be better for security reasons, because I can weld in a bar across here, which when these close up, so say that's closed and it's got the bar behind it, if someone walked up and kicked it, it's just going to go up against the metal bar and you're going to have the companionway slide bracing it there. It's going to be pretty strong. So you guys let us know what you think. Should I go back one step and make this into a taper, or should we just go ahead with opening inwards and make that bulkhead? It is usable having that bulkhead there because we get a bit more of a pantry inside in the kitchen. But yeah, let us know what you think. What would be better? I'm 50-50, so when I get home and I explain this to Mel, she might go, no, I want them opening inside. But yeah, you guys let us know what you think, and we'll put this one on hold for just a sec and we'll get back to it. There's no rush on this boat. We just want this boat to be right, so we're not rushing just to get the job done. We're going to stop, think about it, make sure we're doing the right thing. So let's get on with the next job. One little job I've been meaning to get to, I just haven't, is testing the weld around this this rudder bearing here. It's a bearing housing, and our rudder sleeve goes up in there, and obviously your rudder shaft comes down. This has got 3 runs of weld, all done by TIG, and I need to test these welds to make sure they're going to be structurally sound. We don't want any porosity or cracks in this weld, because this is taking a lot of force. When you think of a 19-ton boat and all that water pushing against this one weld, we want this one to be good. So step 1 is we've got to clean the weld up. So like, you can't use any mechanical item to clean up the weld when you're doing a dye penetrant test. So what ends up happening is you get a little V like this, and say this is a crack, and that crack's flared open, so like this. It's got a bit of a stick up. Say my fingers are a bit of a, what they call swarfed, a bit of stick up, where you got a bit of flare of metal it's sprung up. And when you use a mechanical item, you can fold that flare up and close up that crack. You don't want that. So what we want to do is basically mechanically dress that. So basically, if this is still here, it's going to stay there. You're not going to push it down into those cracks and block them up. We want that dye to get into anything that's going to show us any problems. So only use hand tools. Don't use mechanical. Don't get your flapper discs. You don't clean your welds up. Leave them raw. Just clean the rust off. Clean any of the MIG gas or your flux from your arc rods. Clean it all up. I've got corrosion on here, so I've got to clean that up. So let's get and do that first. Alright, as you can see, there's no more rust on this weld. Nice and clean. So the next step is to use a rag and put some like solvent cleaner on that, just to clean around any oil or grease that might be left on that surface. So we've got our Ardrox pre-cleaner, so give that a spray. I like to put your little nozzle on so you get a bit more penetrant into that. Good. Now I'm out of clean white rags, so I found this nice clean white towel. So just don't tell the wife that we're using one of the nice white towels. Now that's looking really nice and clean. We're going to give it some dye. So I use Ardrox for all this testing. Ardrox are basically the industry standard where it comes to dye penetrant testing. Basically, I don't like to waste it, so I spray a little bit into the cap. You just got to be a little bit careful in the caps. Let's see if you can see it. There's a little hole there. Don't spray it on that side. Just hold it up and spray it on the side that doesn't have the hole. I know that sounds a bit like silly, but just gotta be careful. This goes everywhere, so just spray a little bit. Now normally you could just spray this straight on the job, but it's a bit wasteful, so let's just get a little bit. So I've only got a tiny bit. Let's see if I can show you. Tiny bit in there. Just going to soak that up with the brush. Brush will soak all of that up. And we'll just dab that on. Need a little bit more. You get a nice even coverage of dye all the way around. That's going to soak into all those cracks. You can already see it sort of sitting in the valley and troughs of the weld. This GoPro doesn't seem to focus well close up, but trust me, it's a decent coverage. Now you've got to leave that for 30 minutes. So we can't just rub it off now. That's going to soak in for 30 minutes before we clean all that off. And I'll clean that off with a rag, and then you need to spray on the rag with your pre-cleaner to remove the excess. Don't spray your cleaner directly on it because you can push the dye out of the cracks. So we're just going to let that sit for a while, and I'm going to find something else to do in the meantime. Alright, we're 30 minutes in. Let's wipe off some of this dye penetrant. So just grab your rag, put some of your cleaner on your rag. And what you want to try and do is get it so, like that was the last one, a little bit of red dye on there still. You want to keep cleaning until you don't get any more red come off of your rag. Alright, we're basically good now. Next step is put the chalk on. This is basically a non-aqueous developer, so that means it's not water-based developer. So let's get that in shape. Now with the developer you need to wait an additional 15 minutes, but generally speaking you can see any cracks or porosity or anything like that within the first 2-3 minutes, but just in case there's those fine hairline cracks you do have to wait that 15 minutes. Let's have a look at what we got initially. So this is just in the toe of the weld. Not sure if we can see that because it's dark under here. That's just the toe of the weld in for the paint. So I didn't clean that area up, I just cleaned the weld. So same as there, it's all divots in the paint. All this is just bleeding out from inside the paint where there's little bits of holes and stuff. So a little bit of an undercut here, but that's not really a defect. I need a little bit more developer under here. So generally speaking, you should be able to still see the surface of the steel through your developer. You can't just cake it on there. So it's all looking good. So we're definitely happy with this weld. There's no spots, there's no contamination, there's no cracks all the way along, no dye bleed out. So that's a pass. We're happy with that weld. Unfortunately that's all we got time for this week. Only a couple of short little jobs, but we've got a really busy week this week with work, so hopefully everyone still enjoyed the episode. I can only get down here a little bit at the moment, so if you like the content, leave a like, a comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see everyone next week for another episode. Thanks guys.